I don't want to ever be vengeful. I don't want to ever be, trying to negatively cast light on something that shouldn't get it.
Right.
But I think it's important to tell the truth.
Yep.
And I think it's important for our community to know the truth. And the crazy thing is, I thought everybody knew that Hagedorn owned the press.
Yeah.
Just today, I've heard so many people say, "Are you serious?"
I had no idea.
Oh my goodness. That explains a lot.
Dave, you're a husband, you're a father, you're an entrepreneur, you're the founder of LYFE Public House, as well as Beau Monde Clothing Exchange, you're a podcast host, and so much more, man. Thank you for your time, dude. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. That's cool.
Absolutely. I'd like to start the show up by going back a bit. Like, where did you grow up? What was childhood like for you?
I grew up in Post Falls.
Okay.
So my dad graduated from Post Falls High School. I lived in Post Falls or Coeur d'Alene, mostly Post Falls all of my life. Went to school in Post Falls. The only time I've been out of the area is I went to Northwest University over in Kirkland. So I was gone for 4 years and then moved back.
Come on. Oh, that's awesome. And I'm very familiar with Northwest University out there. We all have our own journey with Jesus in the moment that we decide to make that decision to step into that relationship. But what was that journey for you like? Like, what prompted you to give your life to Jesus?
I grew up in the church, actually.
Okay.
My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my uncle, they were all pastors. And my dad was a pastor. He's a pastor to this day.
Wow.
But, you obviously have to come to a place and, point in time where you decide that you are going to personally make Jesus a part of your life and make him Lord. And for me, probably like 7 or 8 years old, it was like, this is what I want to do.
Come on.
And this is how I want to live my life. And then, growing up, you have those times where,
Sure.
You question, like, is God real?
Totally.
Is it just something that I've been taught, when I was young, so that's why I believe it. And, it is a journey of faith,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, so good. Now, you and your family, you own one of the coolest coffee shops in town with LYFE Public House. I've been there many times, but like, take us behind the scenes here, man. Like, how did all this come together? How did this, what was the creation, the thought process about putting LYFE Public House together?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I would have never thought I would I would own a coffee shop.
Yeah.
But I worked for Nationwide for 15 years. I did financial planning.
Okay.
And, during COVID and all that, really everything changed. And we became Nationwide, did a lot of stuff via Zoom, did a lot of stuff via, where we weren't in person. And I love being around people. I love hearing their stories. I love eyeball to eyeball connection. And the crazy thing is I literally looked in the paper, or actually a friend of mine looked in the paper and said, "Hey, Calypso's is for sale." And boy, my wife took our kids there when she was young. And I was like, really? Really out of curiosity, I went down and looked at I just looked at the space and thought, man, we were coming out of a period of isolation and separation and being shut in and all that kind of stuff. And I thought this would be a really cool place for people to connect. And next thing you know, I own a coffee shop.
Yeah. So cool. I love it, man. And I'm a big fan of coffee. I actually didn't drink coffee till I was about 18 years old when I started working for Starbucks. And then they're like, "Hey, you're the new guy. You got to open the store." So I had to be there at 4 a.m. And
Wow.
I did that for many years. And that's actually how I met my wife, who does not drink coffee. She came into the store and we met and married in 11 months. Of course, we'll tell our kids that we dated and courted for 10 years before we got married. But
Yes, there you go.
But LYFE stands for live your freedom every day. I absolutely love that. Like, what does that mean for you? What's that standing? What does that life, live your freedom every day mean for you?
Well, freedom, I think, is really something that just have been, it's gaining more and more and more importance in my life.
Yeah.
Simply because I think I took it for granted. You you just, you grow up, we're in a free country. It's something that we just kind of, I don't know, just always think that we have, and maybe everybody has it or whatever.
Sure.
And really COVID kind of changed a lot of that. It was like how quickly, the government can come in and tell us that we have to do a certain thing and act a certain way, and we can hang out with who, how many people they say we can hang out with. And
Right.
it was like, oh my goodness, freedom is critical.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start thinking about it and think about how many people literally gave their life for our freedom. And
Right.
then you start to respect and value. And, I know it's a cliche statement, but that freedom isn't free thing.
Right.
Man, it is not free.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, young men and women have fought on the battlefield for our freedom, but realize that we as citizens, we have to fight for freedom.
Yeah.
We can't, so many times we give it away so quickly, and it's something worth fighting for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So good, man. And we're so blessed to live where we live that we didn't really get too much craziness going on with COVID and things like that. Which I absolutely love that you were able to, stay open and we're, go through all the, like hanging out and connecting with people. But man, and I love the environment that you offer at LYFE. I mean, it's got cool stages and cool rooms and things like that. But what's going on with life nowadays? Like, what's the future hold for life as of today?
I'm really trying to figure that out. Spending a lot of time thinking in prayer, talking to business leaders that are far smarter than I am. And really it came down to, we bought the place, and, I talked to the guy, and he was like, hey, him and he and his dad built the place in 71. I remember going and seeing the glass blowing there and all the stuff that had happened there. And, he was going to own it till the day he died and give it to his kids or keep it in the family or whatever. And so I never really gave it much thought, except for, obviously I wanted to buy it at one time. And actually I would have had to contact friends to help me buy it.
Sure.
But wanted to get it. And, I see myself being there forever. And then I get the call that he sold it to the Coeur Resort. And, I met with them, and it started off with, hey, this is great. We love life. We love the community. We love what you do. We love meeting people, all that kind of stuff, which, given it a short version of it, really transformed to the day I got the letter from the attorney that said, they own the building and they own the rights to the entryway or whatever. And they're going to close my parking lot down completely. And I really had to start figuring out like what I'm going to do, like what's going to happen. I thought it could be a pretty easy win-win situation. I met with Bill Regan numerous times, and, I knew that they plan on leveling, the building.
Whoa.
Which they're building another, 17-story hotel, Coeur Resort phase 2 or whatever.
Sure.
And I can totally understand that. We live in a beautiful place, beautiful lake. And I think the resort's full like all the time, that, there would be a need to create another, another 200 rooms or whatever it is. I don't know. And so I got that. And I said, man, I don't want to be a part of, I don't want to be in the middle of your construction zone either. The problem is I put all of my money into this place. And it costs a lot of money to renovate a place and to fix it up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, man, if you, can help me move to another location, dude, I'll get out on your timetable. And I was told that's not how they do business. So I was like, okay, well, then we're going to, adapt, improvise, overcome. That's what you do.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Now, you released a video today. You're standing outside of Coeur Press, where you were talking about an article that they were kind of excited when you first moved in, but then they kind of pictured you in almost a bad light, where they put your daughter on the photo and all that stuff. Like, what happened with that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like the third day I was open, I got the press, because I knew I was going to be in the press, and I
Yeah,
was really blindsided by, the thing that hit the hardest was having my daughter on the front page.
for sure.
That as a dad, you're like, dude, I'm okay, fighting my battles, or I'm okay with whatever people attacking me or making assumptions on me. I'm a grown man. Get to know me, and then you can decide whether you like me or not. And I'm totally okay with. I'm probably not for everybody,
Yeah.
but to put my daughter in the middle of it, that was just not cool.
Hmm.
And I didn't know at the time, like, had I know, if I would have known then what I know now, I would have fought it then.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, man, I've got a brand new business. The press kind of controls the media in Coeur d'Alene. If I
Sure.
fight this, what's the next article going to be?
Right.
Like how are they going to paint me? I mean, I was already painted in kind of a funky light. Like, what would they do next? And so I thought, man, I'm just going to ignore it, and it'll go away. And obviously, sooner or later, it went away. But I couldn't stop thinking about, really what my daughter was going through during that time.
Sure.
And that was the most difficult thing to deal with that.
Mhm.
By the time the press came out, I kind of knew who they were, knew who owned them, knew they were a Hagedon, like an extension of Hagedon Corporation.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't surprised by the article. I was surprised that they put my daughter on the cover. That was, I don't know, that's all sorts of wrong.
For sure.
Why not stick me on the cover? If you want to paint me in that light, throw me on the cover. And
Yeah.
not that I want to be on the cover of any newspapers or anything,
Sure.
but at least be adult, like, hey, put this on an adult. Don't put this on my kid.
Yeah. Man, and I actually didn't know that Hagedon had ties to Coeur d'Alene Press until you had mentioned that. And man, I've heard some crazy stories about the Hagedon company from other entrepreneurs in the area. And I mean, I don't want to get into details, but it's there's some crazy stuff that I've heard have happened in the past. Man, what a crazy thing. Man, I'm just praying for you guys. And I mean, I like life is such a staple in our community, though, and I know it's hard to kind of figure out like, well, okay, what do I do next, and what do I do now? But like, what is it that the community can do for you guys right now? Because we just want to be able to support you in your decision and what you're going through right now.
Yeah, and I appreciate the question. I've been asked that numerous times. We are even simple things, even commenting or sending a text or man saying, "Hey, I'm praying for you, man."
Yeah.
That's great. Or, hey, I'm with you. I'm standing with the community. We live in a phenomenal community.
Yeah.
I mean, so many amazing people in the community, and so I've received a lot of support, which is great. Really, it comes down to finances. If people can't get into my shop and
Yeah.
and they don't buy food, then I guess the light company and now the Hagedons that own my place, they probably still want their rent, and
Sure.
the gas company still wants paid on. So we're figuring that out. Our online store probably I think goes live today. So,
Okay.
man, if hey, I want to send some coffee to somebody or a sweatshirt to somebody, man, shop online, do that. And it's a weird question because I don't want to make this commercial, like I don't want
Totally.
to.
Yeah.
Really, the reason why I've taken this public is I think about all of the small businesses that, in my mind, have been unfairly treated by the press
Yeah.
or the Hagedon Corporation. And up until recently, they didn't have the ability like I have to go to social media and tell your story.
Sure.
I'm going to rely on the press to tell my story. And obviously that's not going to work
Yeah.
because the press is going to tell the story that the Hagedon wants them to tell.
Yep.
And, I talked to a realtor today and, he was like, "Oh, dude, it's so true." And I was like, "Well, talk to me." And he was like, "Well, there are so many real estate companies in town, and if you're favored, then your real estate company, like if you do Toys for Tots or you do some kind of fundraiser, your real estate company gets featured. And it's like, you know what? There's probably 10 other real estate companies doing the same thing. But if you're in favor of the Hagedons, you get the front page article or you get this business spotlight or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking for any spotlight or anything like that, but just treat people fair. That's
Yeah.
I don't think it's wrong to seek justice.
Yeah, I agree. Man. Have you heard from CDA Press or Hagedon at all since you've gone public with your story?
No, and I don't really expect to. I don't,
Yeah.
I went public, and here's the deal. I let them know. I said, hey, I can't fight you legally. I mean, those are my exact words. I can't fight you legally. The only thing I can do is really let the public know what's going on. That's not my personality. And I've tried to be just honest. I'm not,
Sure.
like I said, I don't want to ever be vengeful. I don't want to ever be, trying to negatively cast light on something that shouldn't get it.
Right.
But I think it's important to tell the truth.
Yep.
And I think it's important for our community to know the truth. And the crazy thing is, I thought everybody knew that Hagedon owned the press.
Yeah.
Just today, I've heard so many people say, are you serious?
I had no idea.
Oh my goodness. That explains a lot.
For sure.
And I mean, you think about politics,
Yeah.
you think about, and, obviously I support the schools. My kids have gone through Coeur d'Alene High School, all Coeur d'Alene schools. But if they want this agenda pushed, they're going to push it. I talked to a homeschool lady today, and her homeschool students, her homeschool association, their kids have won like all kinds of awards and all this stuff. And, they submit that and crickets.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it doesn't fit their agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, that's so sad. Yeah. These kids, work their butt off, and it'd be nice, like, dude, it's a big deal for a kid to get in the press.
Right.
And
totally.
Again, it's the paper and see their picture there and their name and all that. But it's definitely a controlled agenda and a controlled narrative.
Yeah. Man. Through being an entrepreneur and faith-driven entrepreneur, like, what has been the most surprising lesson that God's taught you through the challenges of running a business as a faith-driven entrepreneur?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Boy, for me, it's the word surrender comes to mind so much. Yeah. And that's so hard. Mm-hmm. It's so hard because I just want to fix things. I want to, I see a problem I want to do. And sometimes, this might sound crazy, but sometimes my plan isn't the same as God's plan.
Right, totally.
His plan is better for my life. Mm-hmm. Even though I often think I know what's best. So that word surrender, and here's the deal. If there's anybody watching this that has that figured out, let me know. Because I struggle with that, and I'm trying to figure that out.
So important for that, man. And surrender, such a big word. And I've been praying on, just patience and understanding in my own situation and story, right? And you're so right, man. There's a lot of things that I want in life that I'm like, God probably doesn't want that right now, man. Or it's just a different timing, right? Or like, man. And I know I've battled with comparison of other entrepreneurs. Well, he's further down the line on this, right? And I remember having this conversation with my buddy Kelly that absolutely changed my whole life. I went down to an event in California. There's 50 millionaires. I was the one that was not, though. Right? Like, I was just there. Like, I won this trip from a guy on my podcast. I met this guy named Kelly Cardenas, surfer hair guy, loves the Lord. He says, hey, let's go watch the sunrise in the morning. And I remember just like having our Bibles out and we're watching the sun come up. And he goes, what's going on in your mind? And I'm telling him, man, I just want to be a full-time entrepreneur right now. I want to be like those guys. And he's like, dude, all those people, yeah, they got lots of money, they got great businesses, but how am I gonna have great marriages? And I just went, ugh, I got my priorities all wrong. Like, I didn't realize in that moment, like, I was putting too many things in front of my marriage, in front of God. And man, God's timing is everything for sure, man.
Yeah.
I I love talking with other podcasters, and you have a show called Life Business, and it's awesome. But for those who don't know, like, what's this show about, and how do you think it's helped in your business and just community relationships?
Well, boy, so the show's about basically it's called Life in Business, LYFE in business, and I just sit down with entrepreneurs and I want to hear their journey. And selfishly, I like hearing stories. I like why they're doing it.
Yeah,
Why, what prompts somebody to trade a 40-hour a week work week for 180-hour work week?
totally.
Because when you're an entrepreneur, you are like you're on all
Yeah,
the time. I mean, you wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning and oh my goodness, I got to do this, this, or this. It's just always on your mind. And my goal is to create and I'm still learning how to do this. My goal is to create a community where we can learn from each other, that we can see that other people struggle with the same things that we struggle with.
yeah,
I want to talk about the surprises in business. We go into this not knowing I'm going to need to be a janitor, a bookkeeper, an attorney, an HR person, a social media guru, all the stuff that goes with being an entrepreneur.
yeah.
There's a lot of surprises.
Mm.
And so I'm hoping that, entrepreneurs, business owners, people that want to be entrepreneurs can hear these stories and just take the little nuggets like, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
this super successful entrepreneur, he had the same struggle that I had.
yeah,
And I think for me personally, I've heard numerous times now what we thought was like the worst possible thing that could happen to us in business. 6 months down the road or a year down the road, we realize that was the best possible thing that could happen.
yeah,
And so I'm holding that.
yeah.
That's what I'm
Oh,
holding on to.
I love it, man. It's so good to just surround yourself with like-minded people and people that have that same vision of, even faith-based or non-faith-based, but people that are coming together to just have this one mindset to help each other out in their business, man. So good. And you and your family, you guys also own Beau Monde Clothing Exchange. It's great business, by the way. I've been in the stores, and we have some friends that actually spend quite a bit of money with you guys. I love it, though. But like, what is this for folks? Where can they check this out, man?
Well, our main store is on 95 and Prairie.
Okay.
That's the exchange. And then we have a kind of a more boutique-y one. It's on Government Way, just a little bit north of Prairie, kind of by Capone's.
Gotcha.
And then we've got a couple of outlets. One over there by Texas Roadhouse and an outlet in Post Falls and kind of an outlet in Athol. And it's really just both my wife and I grew up pretty economically challenged. And my wife, like going to a new store would absolutely never happen. And, she started it really with the idea of, man, her motto is look good, feel good, do good.
Yeah.
And knowing that, especially I think for, ladies, younger ladies, there's society's placed such a crazy, really unbearable or impossible thing to live up to for our young ladies.
Yep.
And and most people can't afford to do this type of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's a way to, those people can shop and buy, the name brand fancy stuff for, whatever, 10% or 20% of the price.
Yeah.
So it really kind of came out of that, what my wife knew growing up and providing that for the community now. And, she's been able to do, speaking of Beau Monde, she's done these clothing drives for charity, and it's stuff your bag for $10, and literally like 300, 400, 500 people will show up. And it's amazing because a lot of foster families show up. A lot of people that are very economically challenged will show up.
Yeah.
You can stuff like a kitchen garbage bag full of clothes for $10. You get like 100 pieces of clothing in there.
Come on.
And this is from all the donated clothes.
Yeah.
So all the people that shop there, we know people. I mean, I don't know, dozens, probably hundreds of people that have told us, oh my goodness, this is such a lifesaver for my family to shop here.
For sure.
But then we're able to take all of that money because they're donated clothes, and I want to say she's done. I know it's over 180,000. I think it's probably closer to $200,000 to local charities that she's just written checks for.
Wow.
And so it's a really cool thing because it's helping people that can shop, and also we're able to invest in local charities.
Mm-hmm.
And just this morning, she was like, she's been doing this event for about 10 years now. We do about 3 of them a year. And it's a crazy community event. I only go after because it's too crazy for me.
Sure, yeah.
And I'll clean up and all that kind of stuff. But she was like, I've called the press numerous times to come and, take pictures or report on what's going on. And not one time have they ever reported on this. So someone that's donating, and I'm not trying to toot mine or Brooks, I'm not trying to, say we're doing all of this stuff or whatever.
Sure.
Because I think that small business owners around our community are doing the same thing. Yeah. We have so many great people that are investing in their community.
Yeah.
But the fact that I don't, my wife's pretty vocal. My wife's, she'll state her opinion. And, sure. But I can honestly say, sorry.
You're good.
We've been married 32 years now.
Come on.
I don't. Whoa, that came up as a surprise.
All good, man. All good.
I don't know if I know a more loving woman that loves people more than my wife. I've learned a lot from her on standing for the people that can't fight for themselves.
Yeah.
Standing for justice, seeking justice. The names that she has been called are just disgusting and despicable.
Yeah.
Yet she still stands, and she still loves people. She loves our community. And she does this, she doesn't get paid to do these bag sales.
Sure.
She does it for all the people that shop there, and the charities that she can support, and the lives that she's able to change by writing checks. But she doesn't fit the narrative of what our local media would like her to fit.
Yep.
So it's done in silence. And I apologize for that, man.
No, don't apologize, man. I think it's so good. Your wife is an absolute world changer, just like you are. You guys are giving so much back to the community. And there's a reason why I don't watch the news. I don't read the newspaper. It's because the media has their own agenda. They have their own, thing that they want to put in things, into there and call people whatever and say things about people. And I just don't want to get into that. And man, the newspaper, I wish that they would just even share a photo of your wife's event for the awareness of the people that actually need it, right? It's not egotistical, 100%. Right? It's just for, hey, these people actually could use this event to help save, man, it's so good. I want to raise awareness for that. But man, Dave, I just want to say you and your wife are amazing people. I love what you guys got going on. You're absolute world changers. You're doing amazing things for this community. I'm so thankful that you took time to share your story and be on the Erik Allen Show today, man. Thank you.
Man, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. We're all in this together. Small business owners, we're in this together. Humanity, we're in this together, man. Life is tough. We need each other. So that's it. Thank you so much. Love to talk and love to share my story. And man, if I can help somebody or whatever, love to do it.
Hey, if you've ever thought about starting a podcast but unsure where to go, you need to go check out erikallenmedia.com. Click on the resources tab there. I will walk you through how to start, launch, and run a podcast. I've recorded over 500 interviews since 2017, and I want to help you launch your podcast. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you catch every show when I drop them. Thanks again. Keep changing the world.